Hello and welcome to SFDC Panther Lightning Component Development Session Day 4. My name is Amit Singh, and here on Day 4, before we go ahead with the today's agenda, I'd like to cover the previous sessions, that whatever the topics we have covered on the previous sessions. We have created a simple component, we have styled our simple component using the SLDS with the help of some internal CSS, with the help of style.css, using the inline CSS as well. We also saw how we can create the home page, app page or record page using the app builder. We also see what are the attributes, what are the data types, what are the collections, and we also created some basic utility that is calculator and the percentage calculator. On today we will learn what is how we can use if and else expression in Lightning component, that we can also say that as a lazy loading. And we will also see how we can use for loop inside the Aura component, as the concept of the for loop here in the VF page and Lightning component is far different. How we can use the map in the Lightning component, as in our previous session we saw the data type as a map, but we didn't use that, we didn't implemented that. We will also implement that map here in our Lightning component, and we'll also see how we can call apps class methods from a Lightning component with the help of a mediator, a JavaScript controller. And then for the practical purpose, for the lab exercise, we will create a contact list component, and we'll also style that component with the help of standard CSS. So let's go ahead. For the if condition in Lightning component, we have two tags that comes under the Aura framework, that are Aura if for rendering any particular portion based on the condition, and if we wanted to render some other portion whenever if the condition is not true, I mean if the condition is false, then we have to use we have to set the attribute as an else with the help of Aura set tag. So let's see how it is working, how we can create a sample if and else attribute in our Lightning component. So this is our org where we are doing all the hands-on steps. So let's close all these attributes, and we'll keep open the application so that we can test the output. Let's go ahead and open the component that we created on the first day, that is my first component. And here we will, before I go and I write the syntax for Aura if, I have already opened this component library. I'd like to show you Aura, and then if expression, what is the tag, how it will work. Here you can see that Aura if, and inside that Aura if there is an attribute that is called as is true, and inside that here we need to provide the value, we need to provide the expression. It will be either true or false, the value of the attribute that we will provide inside the is true tag. It's is true attribute, and that must be either true or false. That means the data type of this variable must be boolean, and this is for showing the false as a. So if you copy this particular code and paste here in the component, and then for this, as we are using this truthy as a attribute, so we need to create an attribute with the same name, and just for that, as for the testing purpose, provide the default value as a true and type as a boolean. Now if you in the Lightning component, you will uncomment the my first component portion, save application and see the preview. You will be able to see the true. Here you can see that true, and this is coming why, because we have provided the default value for this particular variable, truthy variable, as a true, and if you wanted to see false, just go ahead and make a small change, put it as a false, and then so is this. Here you can see that false, and that is coming inside the attribute else condition. So for the aura set, in the attribute we can provide else, we can provide title, we can provide footer, we can provide actions. We will see all these attributes. We will also use some attributes over here in this tutorial while we will be creating the contact list component. So this is the basic that we can use the lazy loading. So whenever we are using aura if, and that means this particular text will be created on the runtime whenever this condition will be true, and if this condition is false, this portion will be automatically destroyed, and then this portion will be created at the runtime. So again, if this condition will be true, this particular portion will be destroyed, and this particular portion will be created at the runtime. So this is why lightning aura if works, and it also increases the performance by dynamically creating the components and destroying those components after the use. If we don't have any use of this particular part and we don't want to see, it will not be here, it will not be part of this component. It will be created only if the value for this variable is true, and then this part will be destroyed automatically. Iterating through the list in lightning component, that we also know as a for loop. So aura iteration is used for the iteration if we have map or list, for any list, or if we have set. To iterate the list of items, we need to aura iteration as a tag here in the lightning component. In the VA page there are multiple tags like page block table, data table, apex repeat, but in the lightning component there is only one concept, that is aura iteration. So let's see how we can use aura iteration. First I will show you the definition of aura iteration. Iteration here in, you can see this is a simple component. We are providing the list of value here in the items. There are two tags. One is items. In the items attribute we pass the list of records that we wanted to show, we wanted to iterate, and then here in a where we can choose the name of the variable. So this is something similar to for loop of apex. Let me show you how it is similar. So first, if I go and develop the for loop, say for example for, let's say that there is a list of string. So this is the list of string in case of aura iteration. Let me also create a new attribute that is type of list, so that I can elaborate to you in a very easy manner. So here you can see that this is the list of string that we wanted to iterate if we are using the apex. So in case of aura iteration, this is the list of item, whatever the item we wanted to iterate, and this is the variable. So here in the aura iteration, this is the name of the variable, and then this is the type of whatever the items are here in the string, in the list. But in case of either iteration or iteration, it automatically typecast whatever the value here in this list, if the value here is simple string, list of string, or list of s object, list of object, list of wrapper class, so it will automatically typecast those. We don't need to give the hardcode things here like this. We don't need to use. So if you wanted to display the value for the colors, whatever all color are here, we just need to the same concept as Apex class. If you wanted to debug, we need to put system.debug, then str whatever the variable name is here. The same as here in the array iteration, we need to use not and then item. Now save it, and if you refresh the application, you will see that false, red, yellow, orange, green. If you wanted to see line by line, just put a line break, and here as well. Here you can see that red, yellow, green, orange. So this is the simple way that we can use or iteration. We can use for loop, and the like in our real life example, we have many cases where we wanted to, for example, the practice the exercise, the lab exercise that we will do. We will fetch all the contact records from the database, and then we will iterate through the list of contacts, and we'll show all the contacts in a grid or in a lightning card. How to use map in lightning component. In the previous session I told you that there is a different concept of using the map in the lightning component. We can use the data type as a map in the lightning component whenever if we have some predefined values. If we know that for this particular key this will be the value. If we don't want the key, and we also don't, sorry, if we don't know the key and we also don't know the value of that particular map, so how we will do this? We will prepare the map in the JavaScript, and then we will iterate through the map using the aura iteration to show the values, to show the key, to show the value as well. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to show the account detail along with their contact detail, how we will do that? In case of Apex, we can just use simple use the variables in the VFPs. But in case of lightning component, either we will go with the help of wrapper class. In wrapper class also we need to use the list of contacts inside the account. So what we'll do, we'll just use the concept of map in the lightning component to show the values. So let's see a simple example with the help of a map. We don't need to use the map as a data type. We can also use the list, because list also contains key and value, the pair of key and value. So let's go ahead and see how we can use the map in the lightning component. We just need to type as a list, and we don't need to provide any default value. What we will do, we will create a button. We will say that on click of that button, create map. On the click of button, we will call this method, that is to create map. So what we are doing here, we are preparing a map till here from the line number 3 to line number 10. So how we are preparing the map? We are just creating a variable of type array, and then we are iterating through from 0 to 10. And as we know that map always contains the concept of key and value. So to prepare the map, we always create a variable that is type of an array, and then in that array we just push the values using the key as a key, whatever the key we wanted to use, and then value as a value, whatever the value we wanted to put here. Say for example, account and contact, as a key we can put the complete account, or we can just put the account ID, and then as a value we can put the list of contact here. So now as we have, and then after we are setting the value, we are setting the map in the variable that we created. As we created this map here in the JavaScript, now it's let's see how we can iterate here and this in the component. So we will use aura iteration. The same concept we will use items, we will use variable, we can say I'll just give the name as a map, and here we'll see key as map have two values, key and value as value. So here in the key, whatever the value will be key, it will print key, and the value whatever will be the value, it will print as a value. For example, here if you take that account and contact, what it will do, in the key we will show the account ID, in the value we will get the list of contacts. So here we can also, inside that we can also use an aura iteration to iterate through the contacts to show the contact list related to a particular account. So now let's go ahead and refresh this component. Here you can see that we have a button. Click on that, you can see that key 0 value is test 0, key 1 value is test 1. So here you can see that from 0 to 9. If you go back to our controller, you can see that we are setting the value as test space, and then we are setting the whatever the variable value is 0 to 9. So this is the simple way we can iterate the map, and now we can create either this map is coming from the Apex class, or we are calling, or we are creating a map from our making any call out with the third-party system. Create a contact list component. So this is the lab exercise that today we will do. We will create a lightning component that is named as contact list. Then we will see what are the prerequisites for an Apex class to be used as lightning component controller, and what are the annotation that we can use in the lightning component. And after that we will create an Apex class to query the top 10 contacts, and then we will execute, or we will call the method of Apex class from the JavaScript, and then we will display the list of the accounts, list of in the lightning components, sorry, list of the contacts. So here before let's go ahead and see that how we can do that. So first what are the prerequisites to use any lightning any Apex class to be used as a lightning component controller? So I must say that there is no prerequisites for the class, but if you wanted to call any particular method of say for example I am creating this class, and now if I wanted to call the method that is here inside the class, that method must be annotated with aura enabled annotation, and method must be static, and it can return anything, either a string avoid a list of S objects, say for example list of contact, and here you can say that get contact list. So now what we'll do, we'll query the contacts, top 10 contacts which doesn't whose contacts email is not null. So we'll copy this query, we will return this. This is nothing, this is similar to list contact list, new list, you can use this. So this is the simple controller that we are going to use in our contact list component. So let's go ahead and create a component, new component, say that contact list. So first, to associate this Apex class with the with the component, there is an attribute called as controller in the Apex component, topmost tag. So Aura component topmost tag, there is a control attribute name as controller. We need to provide the name of the class. And now what we need to do, first thing we need to create a mock of whatever all the requirement is. The requirement is to show the list of contact. That means we must need an attribute that is a type of list of contact or list of object. We will name it as contact list. I will give the type as a contact list, and then we as we need to show on the list, we need to iterate. What we will do, we will use an Aura iteration. And here inside that iteration we will show contact.first name space last name, then we will put the break tag, then we will show that the email of the contact and the phone of the contact. So whatever all the let's say how many contacts are here, there are 18 contacts. So we will show the first name, last name, email and phone of all the contacts with the help of Aura iteration. Now the step is to call the Apex class method from JavaScript. So before I go ahead, I'd like to, without using what the requirement is, that if I don't want to, if I load this application, the contact list will be automatically populated here. I mean that on the load of the component I wanted to see the list of the contact. So for calling the constructor, this as there is a constructor for a particular VF controller, we have an Aura handler name equal to init, value provide as at this for this particular component, and then action, what action you wanted to call on the initialization of the component. So if you wanted to perform any calculation, or if you wanted to call any server side, client side controller method whenever the component is being loaded, I mean at the time of initialization, we need to use this tag as it is. You can change the name of method, whatever the method you wanted to call, but the name is init, that is saying that that is telling the Aura component framework that you need to call this action at the initialization of the component, and then whatever the value is here, and put it here in this tag. You don't need to change this. This is as it is, the standards provided by the Salesforce. So now let's as we have put the doInit as an action, let's go ahead on the controller and create a method name with the doInit. So now here before I go, I would like you to show something on the Aura docs, that this is whatever the logic we are going to write here, it will be completely based on the Aura documentation. So first we need to get an object of action class that is available in the Aura document. How we can do that? We just need to put component, whatever the variable is here, component.get. In the earlier tutorial we saw that we are using get for getting the attribute value, but there is another use. There is also a use of get method to get the object of action class whenever we are calling the server class method. So what we'll do, we will use action provider, that is C dot, and then the method name of the class, of the method name of the related class, method name of this class that we wanted to call. As we wanted to call this method, we will use C dot method name. What it will do, it will return the object of action class, this action class. This is the object of an action class. So here we can get the action class. Go to the Aura doc, JavaScript API, and click on action. Inside action class there are many methods. We will cover few of them, like getError. We will cover getError, that returns the array, and that returns the array of an object which contains the error with the different whatever the error that we are getting from the server side. And we will cover get return value. This particular method, get return value, returns whatever the value we are getting from the server. In our case, we are sending the contact list from the server. In the get return value, either we will get the contact list, or if we are getting any error, we will also get the error here in the get return value. Get state returns the state of the request that we will send to the server. That may return new state. That means the action has been created but not in progress. Running, the action is in running state, success, error, and incomplete. And can also check if the action is running in the set to run in the background or not. And we will use this set callback. Set callback is a method that we can call, that is called after the service, after the request has been completed from the server. In our case, like if you are calling the method, set callback method will be called whenever this method will be executed at last. And then in the set callback method we can pass 3 parameters. One is the scope. Usually we pass this in use scope, and then the callback function that will return the response, and then the name of status, whatever we wanted to. Like if you wanted to set callback for success only, we can provide success here. If you wanted to set callback for the error, a different callback, we can put the error stage here. If you will don't provide any name or don't provide any value for this parameter, it will consider all. This is a sample example that I will also show you. So these are the basic methods that we will use in our today exercise. And as we will be using this Aura docs throughout the sessions, throughout the video series, so we will also be discussing about all of the method of action class. So once we have the action class object, what we need to do, there is an optional step. We can use the set params method that we will discuss later on, but let me put that. This method is used for setting the parameters if you wanted to send any parameters to the server side. For example, if I'm giving any value here, string name, then I need to provide the value. If I wanted to pass the value in this parameter, I need to use set params and then attribute name the same as whatever I have given in the Apex class, and then the value whatever I wanted to pass. So as here we are not using this, is just for testing purpose. Once we will be using, I will show you what are the significance, what are the benefits, and how we can pass the variable values here in the Apex class from the JavaScript controller. And then the last step, that we need to use the set callback method, this as a scope and callback function that will pass, and then I will show you with the help of third parameter. Here you can see that as we saw that this particular set callback function requires three parameters. One is scope, callback function, and then the state for which state this callback is set. So now as I have added this callback for the success, what I will do, I will create a variable as a response value, and will use response dot get return value, the same name, the exact name, as this JavaScript is case sensitive. So this is the method name. This will return the list of all contacts here in this variable. And in the last, what we need to do, we need to use the utility class, that is $a dot, and the method is enqueueAction. This particular method, what does this particular method do, that it sends the request to the server. So to get this particular method, what we need to do, we can go to the $doc, click on $a, and here you will see a lot of methods that we are not going to use. We will use enqueueAction. It uses two parameters. One is the action class object, and then the other one is if we wanted to send this request, we wanted to run this request in the background. The default value for this is false. So if we don't provide any value, it will consider as a false. So here what we are doing, we are just using the utility class method enqueueAction to send the action to the server, and then providing the action class and setting this no, we don't want to run this in the background class. So now what will be the steps, what will be the order of execution? So the order of execution is going to something like this. Step 1, this line will be executed on first, and then this is the optional step 2, and then this line will be executed step 3, and then at the end this line will be executed as a step 4. But for writing in the code, this is the way that we need to write the code. But in case of order of execution, this is the step 1, optional step 2, step 3, and then step 4. So now if I console this, I will set the value in the attribute. After we will see the response here. So what we did, we created an attribute contact list. We also put the constructor of the component. We also iterated through the list. Now we need to go to the application, ContactList component here, and comment out this. We are not able to see anything because we haven't set the value in the attribute. from the controller. I just wanted to show you the debug, whatever we have put in the console. You can see that response value is an array of 18 records. You can see all the 18 contacts are here. Why we are getting these contact records? Because we have added the set callback for the success. Let's for example, if I put error as a state, for error state this set callback, we will not be able to see any value in the console. So let's go ahead and refresh this. Here you can see that there is no console because there is no callback for success. Now if I remove this particular third parameter, because by default the value is all for all state, for all whatever the state is being written by server. Now I will get the console log in the console. You can see that 18 values I am getting here. So this is the basic way to call the Apex class controller method, and now we need to set this value in our attribute. As in our previous session we saw how we can set the value for the attribute. It requires two, one thing key and the other one is whatever the value we wanted to set. Now let's go ahead and refresh and see if you are able to see the records here. You can see we are able to see all the records are here, and now and these are just showing in a very rough way. If you wanted to change the look and feel, what we will do, we will use another lightning tag that is called as lightning card. What lightning card does do, it creates the information, it creates some layout where we can all see. So it set the actions, we can set the title, we can set the body and footer as well. So we'll just use this lightning card in our document, in our tutorial, to show the look and feel, to change the look and feel of the contact details. So what we'll do, I will use lightning card title. We will use the title as a contact last name, and then for footer we will use contact email, or you can use anything else. And inside the body we'll just use contact first name and last name and with the phone. So now if you'll go ahead and refresh this, you will see that there is a difference. We are able to see the phone here, we are able to see the email here on the footer. Now what if we wanted to set the icon name, that this is for the contact, we are not able to see the title. Just put an icon name here. You can see the icon name here. So let me show you how we can use the icon, what kind of icon we can use. So go to the SLDS, open the SLDS, and you click on get started. Here on the left side you will get the icons. If you click on that, you will get action, custom, doc type, standard, utility. So these are the icon name. For example, if you wanted to use the action contacts, like action : add contacts, then what you need to use, let me show you. Copy this, the name of the, and here instead of standard use action : add contact. And if you'll refresh this, you will see that the icon has been changed. So now let's go back and revert it. So now what we need to do, as you can see that this is showing in a complete layout. What we need to do first, we need to provide the paddings from the all top, bottom, from all around. So go to SLDS, type padding, and here we need to select around, as we wanted to give from all over, and select this class. Put this inside a division, provide the class, refresh the application and see. You can see that the look and feel has been changed a bit, but this is there is something that this is attached with the layout. What we will do, one thing that I noticed, that we are not able to see either first name or last name. So let's go back to the class and see, because we are not querying. Okay, so for making the for giving the space for this particular area, what we will do, we will use other class, that is just take this, copy here, this is for the same. Go to the component, and for providing the space between these two, just use the standard HTML %NBSP. Now you can see that you are also able to see the title, whatever title we have given. You are able to see the email as a footer. You are able to see the body. And now what if you wanted to add the action here, for example for viewing the complete account contact detail? So you can also add actions. For adding the action, we can use the same syntax, or a colon set and then attribute equal to actions, and here we can use the lightning button, lightning column button. For the label, we can give as a view details, variant provide as a brand. Don't need to provide any action behind the button. It is just for the practice purpose. You can see that now it's looking like a the layout is looking something very different. Now what we wanted to do, as you can see that there is a very much gap between these two view details and all that. So what we'll do, we will show 3 contacts in a layout. To show the contacts in a grid, we will use the SLDS from the lightning. So what we'll do, we will go to the lightning, we'll find as a grid. You can see the grid, and scroll down, as we wanted to show only 3. Here you can see that if you click on show code, you will see SLDS grid with this is just a sample class, and here we can provide SLDS size. We can provide 1 of 3, and then we can also use that 1 of 3. So what we'll do, we'll just copy this complete code, click on copy, put here for the example purpose. As we are going to use this inside an aura iteration, we will delete this. We are not going to use this, there is no need of this. Delete this, and now copy this code, paste here, copy this and put here. If you will refresh this, we will be able to see the difference. You can see what we are seeing, that all the contacts are here on a single line, but whatever the output we wanted to do is that the contact must be shown in 3 contacts in a row. But for this we need to add another class here. Instead of getters we need to add SLDS wrap. So what it will do, it will check for the size, whatever the class size we have provided here, and it will wrap the content. So as we wanted 1 of 3, we'll just use 1 of 3. 1 of 3 means it will show 3 record in a row. Now you can see we are able to see 3 record in a row. Now the layout is looking something different. Layout is looking, we are closer to the complete layout that we wanted, that we targeted. What we need to do, we just need to provide the space all around, the space between these boxes. So we'll do the simple thing, we'll just use this class here for each boxes. Now if you'll refresh this, you can see that now it's looking very beautiful. So this is the simple thing. Here we are used attributes. We saw how we can call the Apex class method from the component using the JavaScript. We saw where we can get all the methods in our documentation related to the action class with the utility API $a, and we also saw how we can use the map, how we can style our component with the help of different standard CSS. So this was the styling part, that the contact list that we use lightning card. We provided the title, whatever the title we wanted to show with the help of icon. If you wanted to show the icon, this is the option. Then we can also provide the optional footer, that we used email, and then here we use the action, we use the body and all that. Thank you. I hope you guys have learned something new in this video, and from the next video we will start the outline of our project, the live project that we are going to cover in this complete video series. So stay tuned for the latest updates. Please do subscribe the channel for getting the latest update. Thank you guys.